Developing tonight, a man police say prompted an Amber Alert is behind bars. It's a story we've been following for the last 24 hours.
The suspect was arrested and booked on aggravated murder and aggravated arson charges. Ricardo Trujillo is accused of killing the mother of his two children. She was found in a burning mobile home in Riverdale just before 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Jail records released today say he stabbed the woman in the neck and then used gas to ignite the fire and then took off with the two young kids. The Amber Alert was issued at 5:15. At 7:30, the suspect's truck was then spotted up the left fork of Hobble Creek Canyon east of Springville. Multiple agencies responding to the scene there. They found the children and took Trujillo into custody at that point. KSL investigators have spent the day digging into Trujillo's criminal past, and Daniela Rivera joins us live from the newsroom now on what we have learned so far. Daniela?
Well, that's right. Perhaps most concerning in his past is that he had previously strangled a woman who was pregnant with his child. This was back in 2021. Strangulation is a top predictor of homicide. We know this. There's data to show it. And still, advocates say the state of Utah isn't doing all it can to address this type of intimate violence.
Kidnapping, arson, murder. These are the allegations against 29-year-old Ricardo Trujillo Rogel in the last 48 hours. But before that, he had a history of substance abuse and violence toward those closest to him. Trujillo was first charged with domestic violence in 2021. A woman pregnant with his child told Unified Police she woke up to him strangling her. He also punched her in the nose. Police observed red marks on her neck and blood all over her shirt.
He admitted to, strangling her.
Salt Lake County DA Sim Gill's office prosecuted the case. He says the survivor did not want Trujillo to go to prison, but she did want him to get treatment. So that's how they crafted the plea deal. And Trujillo completed both his probation and treatment. A successful outcome on paper.
To say that you and I can predict how a person is going to behave 2 years from now or 2 months from now, that we haven't perfected that yet.
Gill says his office could not have predicted Trujillo would go on to be charged with domestic violence in the presence of his two children in January of this year, or that he'd be charged with killing the mother of those children weeks later. Now, with the benefit of hindsight, Trujillo's history highlights a glaring red flag.
If you are wanting to strangle someone, you are possibly looking them in the eye, you are seeing them gasp for breath, and you are continuing this behavior, that is a level of violent intimacy that is such a strong indicator of future harm and possibly lethality.
That's why it was so disappointing to advocates like Kimmy Wolf with Utah's Domestic Violence Coalition that the Utah legislature chose not to fund strangulation exams for victims and survivors in Utah during this year's legislative session.
Not having these exams available to victims, it's just not an option.
Those specialized exams are needed to collect evidence to prosecute some of the state's most violent perpetrators, but also to provide medical care to victims. The budget request was for $260,000, but the real need in Utah for that program, I'm told, is closer to $400,000. Wolf said organizations like UDVC are now working on their own to try to fundraise to meet this critical need in the state that is not currently funded. Mike.
All right, Daniela Rivera live in the newsroom. Daniela, thank you. And our team will continue following this story. Make sure to download the KSL Plus app and stay with us right here on KSL TV for any new updates.